live trading video, and the reason why I wanted to put this one out there is because this is going to go to show, at least for me, that it's not every single day that you're going to hit home runs. I had a handful of names that I was watching. Nothing was that clean, especially in the current market environment. It's a little tougher to trade. So sometimes I take a handful of trades. If things aren't going in my favor right away, I can get a sense for it's just not A+ action. And then when that happens, I know it's time for me to step back. Making sure that I don't get beat up until the A+ action is there is everything in this current market. Definitely not easy to do, but welcome to trading. And without further ado, here's the video. Tuesday, March 2nd, SPY in the Qs, strong. Nice day yesterday. Getting a little bit of follow through today. Trading above prior day's high on the Qs. Approaching prior day's high on SPY. Watching a lot of names. I mean, I have a decent amount of stuff here. I'm really only focusing on a handful. A lot of these are secondary, but kind of a just in case if they get to some levels that I'm interested in. And then I have my, my thinkorswim charts above this screen. Pre-market high, pre-market low marked. Prior day's high, prior day low marked. And really just waiting to see which direction the market goes. Do things shake out off the open? Do things finally choose a direction? And if so, scalp trend. All right, we've got the open in 5 seconds. Let's see how the day ends up. Zoom looks interesting. Had a nice gap up. The only downside with Zoom is the options. Look at these spreads. Pretty nasty. I mean, it's very volatile. The market just opened, so these are going to be as wide as they're going to be. But even after a few minutes, I wonder how the spread's going to be. They can be pretty wide on this name. I know, like I mentioned in some prior videos, the big difference I've made recently is waiting kind of the first 10-15 minutes before I think about doing something, rather than taking quick patterns off the open within the first 5 or 10 like I had been doing so often recently. Just want to let a lot of these chop around, shake out, do whatever they have to do off the open, be very volatile, and then finally see if they can pick a clear direction and then try to scalp that. So still just watching. I don't really see much. We got SPY and Qs, a little bit of a pull off the open. What I want to see is, does this dip get bought, or do we continue to downtrend? And if so, then look for stuff that's pretty weak. Maybe try to scalp downside flags. Also looking at SPY, a little bit of a pullback. Still coming into a lot of support from yesterday, because yesterday was some decent buying. So it'll just be interesting to see how this responds, reacts to those levels. So I just had an alert go off. We got Netflix that looks pretty good. Spreads are nasty. But coming up to prior day's high, this 556.48, showing a little bit of relative strength considering the market just took a dip. So if the market gets back up, this looks all right. But the spreads are not great. Some of the other things that I'm looking at that sometimes can give clues as to what the market may do, or just show, kind of how the momentum is that day, is I'm just looking at Tesla, and Tesla took a bit of a dip. Doesn't mean it won't get bought back up, but just as far as right now, the very short term, you got a momentum name that's leaking out a little bit. So the last thing that I want to do is chase breakouts, because it goes to show that some of the momentum right now is just not there, especially looking at ZM too. Big gap up, and it is now giving it back. It doesn't mean that it won't eventually maybe find a bottom, start to work its way up. But just right now, while that selling is there, I want to back off and wait. Looking at BIDU kind of waking up a little bit. Pre-market highs above. Yeah, spreads are a little wide, so not something that I want to trade right away. Prior day's high on BIDU is 303.90. So maybe if this can push, pull back, consolidate, and then start to work its way up, that could be an interesting level where this probably gets kickstarted some momentum. But I also want to see SPY and Qs stay strong as well. If those give out, I don't want to chase anything to the long side. Something else that I'm watching too is this Netflix. So I had an alert set for prior day's high because it looked good on the daily, or kind of that prior pivot area right around 556. It got right to it and rejected hard. So almost like a sell the rip situation. And you still got Zoom and Tesla that are weak. So feels like momentum is just not there yet. All right, we got BIDU. We got BIDU showing some strength, but SPY and Qs, check this out. SPY and Qs are showing some weakness. So I'd love to see them catch some support before looking to take any sort of breakout or upside flag pattern. The option spreads on BIDU just kind of suck right now. So that's unfortunate. I'd like to see these tighten up a bit. But now BIDU has gotten through that prior day's high, 303.90. So maybe this has more upside. See it push, pull back, consolidate a little bit, some sort of flag pattern, and then that would possibly be a good setup. The options are pretty spready on this, so if I took a trade, it would most likely be with shares. I would like to take the options, but the spreads are just telling me it's not worth it right now. The 305s are all right, but they widen up at times. I mean, at some points they get upwards of almost 60-cent spread. They'll get tight, look like they're about 15, 20, and then widen to like 50 or 60. So I want to be very careful. High day, 306.47. A couple more minutes of consolidation would be great. Looking at this 306 area. If it can get through that, feels like there's upside room. Looks like a nice flag pattern though. Just want to be patient. The only downside at the moment is that SPY and Qs still showing a little bit of weakness. Hopefully they can find some support. Buyers step up. And then things can turn around. But BIDU is showing some relative strength, so I'm keeping that in mind. I'm also watching FSR at the top of my screen. Just the corner of my eye because it is approaching all-time highs. Check out this FSR. That's starting to look all right. All-time high is 29.27. So as you can see, nice period of consolidation. Starting to get tight. Eventually it's going to choose a direction. If the market can hold up, I feel like this should choose the upside, but of course it doesn't have to do anything. So just letting price action confirm that. And the options on this FSR are all right. Just being patient. This is the hardest thing about trading. You want to jump into things. I see things moving. I want to click buttons, but I know that waiting another minute or two can sometimes be a really good thing. 5 contracts right there, knowing all-time high is 29. All-time high is 29.27. I'd like to see this get there, filled at 165. I'd like to see this maybe get to like 30. All-time high, nice volume. Continue to go. That's what I'd like to see. When stocks make new all-time highs, I'd like to see them continue to go pretty quick, not pull back. And I got filled at 165. So I don't want to let these go red. I know it may not be a big mover, but the last thing that I do is want to let these contracts go red now after I got a nice move in my favor.
Closing order.
Okay, just getting out of that. I don't like holding for the pullbacks, so I will happily take a flat trade because we also got Boeing waking up, which is a much bigger mover than FSR, and I wanted FSR to go right away and it didn't, and that's okay. It is what it is. But we have Boeing that's on the move now. It says much bigger range. I like to trade Boeing a lot more than FSR, but FSR had a good setup, so I wanted to give it a shot. Prior day's high on Boeing is 226.98. Buyers are clearly in control, so if this thing can have a bit of a flag pattern, this looks all right. So I'm going to be looking at the 227.50s. Spread is nice. I'd like to see a push, consolidate for a couple minutes, flag pattern, and then go. Okay, so when I was talking about sometimes the buyers can step in, it's just about when. Look at SPY. Took a little bit, but finally found a little bit of support. If that can hold, that looks pretty good. Same with Qs, a little bit of support right at VWAP. So if it can hold and start to trend, that would be good. So now just looking at some of the things that showed some strength off the open, like BIDU and Boeing. Taking it to 306. I'd like to see this go pretty quick. Filled at 306.15. High day, catch some momentum. Maybe you can get like a point or two out of this if it goes. If not, just get out of it. 306.50. I'd like to see this push into 307. Okay, I'm just getting out of that. Came back in on me. I want to see that go right away. I'm a big fan of go right away or just get out. I can always reconsider the trade, so got out of that flat. 226.98 looks pretty good on Boeing, but it has already had a huge move. So just being aware of that. Big move from the lows already. Best thing to do on this would probably be to size down. If it can get up to that 227, I'd give it a chance. It's for a quick move on small size. 3 contracts right there. Want to see 227 go. Okay, nice pop. Got filled at 66. I'd like to see this continue to go. Volume, continue to follow through.
Closing order, filled.
Pulled back a little bit, and I ended up just getting out of that. So far, these breaks are weak. Get up to 227, get through 27, stay above 227, not pull back underneath it again. So I've already taken 3 trades. I've given things a chance. They're not going as quick as I would like. So I want to make sure that I don't start to overtrade. And that's why I got out. I already knew it was pretty extended. Decreased the size just in case of a situation like this happened. Wanted to see this get through 227. It was an extended flag. The extended flags lately have not had that much follow through. Got above 227. Just did not get going the way that I wanted to see it go. Get through it. High volume. Continue to go to 227, 30, 40, 50, 60. Did not. Felt like it didn't have much gas behind it. Started to pull back a bit. Just bail on the trade. Go quicker, get out. Because of that, I saved myself a nice loss. So sometimes the market can have clues to how the day may be going. And just some of the clues that I saw pretty quick was Netflix. Came up to that technical level, the prior day's high, 556.48, looked good on the daily. If it got through that, maybe it could have a nice upside run. Got right to it and rejected. So the rip was sold. Then also looking at Tesla, right off the open, some weakness. And then looking at Zoom, a momentum name, nice gap up, sold off. So those are some clues initially that I saw that, hey, those momentum names are showing weakness, so maybe the market won't be as clean, and that upside flag kind of setup may not have as clean as follow through as it normally does. Pulled this target up just because that is a nasty reversal. Very nasty reversal. Coming up to prior day's low. Prior day's low is 184.85, so there right now. And I just want to see this consolidates. Maybe there's more downside room. So I got this from Benzinga Charlie in the background saying that target was selling off. Pulled up the daily chart, just quickly looked at the levels, and that's how I came across this.
Order filled.
Take a little bit short right there, 184.60s. Just want to see if this can go to like 184. Just kind of following momentum, right? Coming into 184. Okay, nice drop.
Closing order filled.
Take some off there. I got 100 left just to see if this can go. 184.63 is my entry.
Closing order filled.
Yeah, just got out of that. Quick pop, didn't want to be a part of it. Quick little flag pattern to the downside, really just riding momentum. Waiting for somewhat of a flag to form, take the break, quick move. We're going on a little over an hour into the day, and to be honest, I didn't see any setups that I really like. I have a very specific way I like to trade, and when I just don't see what I'm looking for, I try to not push it. Feel the pressure to have to take trades. I'd rather just deal with the day and then live to fight another day. So even though it was an incredibly boring day, just to take a look at the portfolio, I ended up making 150 bucks on target, flat trade on Boeing, flat on FSR, flat on BIDU, and still made 174 bucks, which isn't bad. So that's going to be it for me. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.